3 heavy knocks shattered the silence. Maya froze halfway across her Capitol Hill apartment, heart hammering. Midnight. Nobody knocked at midnight. Another 3 knocks. Deliberate, patient, wrong. 20 minutes ago, she'd been fine. Exhausted from a 12-hour shift at Denver Health Medical Center? Yes, but fine. The ER had been chaos. A Saturday night in downtown Denver always was, but the last patient of her shift changed everything. DOA, male, mid-30s. Dog mauling, according to the paramedics. But Maya had treated enough animal attacks to know this was different. The wounds were too clean, too precise. And the way the man had grabbed her arm as she'd checked for a pulse, his fingers finding her shoulder through her scrubs with impossible accuracy. Her birthmark had ignited. Red-hot pain, like a brand pressed into flesh. She'd gasped, stumbled back, and the man's eyes had snapped open. Not brown or blue or any human color. Gold. Molten and animal and seeing straight through her. He rasped, blood bubbling at his lips. "The marked one. They're coming. Run." Then he'd seized. Flatlined. Gone. Security footage reviewed later showed something that shouldn't exist. The attacker moving through the parking garage too fast for human eyes to track, its eyes reflecting the camera light like a wolf's. The same gold as the dying man's. The same gold as... The blood moon had risen outside the hospital windows at 11:47 p.m., massive and red, and Maya's shoulder had exploded with silver light. Every overhead fluorescent in the ER had blown out simultaneously, glass raining down, patients screaming, and her birthmark, the crescent-shaped thing she'd had since birth, that her mother had warned her to never let anyone see, glowing through her scrubs like a beacon. She'd run, grabbed her bag, clocked out in a daze of excuses about feeling sick, and drove home with her shoulder burning like someone had injected liquid fire directly into the bone. Now, standing in her darkened living room, with only the streetlight filtering through the blinds, Maya stared at her apartment door. The knocks came again. 3. Always 3. She crept to the peephole, every instinct screaming, "Don't look, don't look, don't look." A man stood in the hallway, tall, well over 6 feet. Dark hair soaked from the rain she hadn't realized was falling, black leather jacket. But it was his eyes that stopped her breath. Gold. Glowing faintly in the darkness like an animal's eyeshine. His voice was deep, commanding, and carried through the door like he was standing inside her skull.
"Maya Elena Rivera, daughter of Isabella Nightmoon. I can smell your fear. I can smell the mark calling me. Open the door."
Nightmoon. Her mother's name had been Isabella Rivera. Just Rivera. Nightmoon wasn't. That wasn't. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. A video file downloading automatically. Security footage from the hospital. The parking garage attack. The frame froze on the attacker mid-leap. Massive. Too large to be a dog. Eyes blazing gold in the darkness. The same gold as the man outside her door. Maya's birthmark burned, pulsing in time with her racing heart. She backed away from the door, grabbing the kitchen knife from the block on the counter. Pathetic defense. She knew it. But her hands needed something to hold besides her own terror.
"The mark is waking."
She could hear the smile in his voice.
"You feel it, don't you? The pull. You were always meant to find me. Or, for me to find you."
"I'm calling the police," she said, hating how her voice shook.
"Tell them what? That werewolves are real?"
The door handle began to melt. Silver gold light bleeding from where his hand must be touching the other side, the metal going liquid, dripping onto her floor. Werewolves. Impossible. But so was glowing skin and eyes that shone in the dark, and a dying man whispering prophecies. Maya made a choice. Not the safe one, not the smart one, but the only one that gave her answers instead of questions. She yanked the door open. The man stood there, rain dripping from dark hair, those impossible eyes locked on hers. Up close, he was devastating. Sharp jaw, broad shoulders, face carved from stone and shadow. But it was the power radiating from him that stole her breath. Something ancient and wild and barely leashed. Their eyes met, her birthmark seared with red-hot agony. She cried out, clutching her shoulder, and he moved, faster than thought, faster than human, and his hand covered hers over the mark. The pain didn't stop. It transformed. His handprint branded itself into her skin in silver fire, the shape of his palm and fingers burning through her shirt, searing into flesh like a claim, like a signature, like ownership. Maya screamed, her knees buckled. He caught her as darkness swallowed the edges of her vision, cradling her against his chest with a gentleness that contradicted the violence of the mark. He whispered against her hair, and she felt his words vibrate through her bones.
Finally, you're marked as mine. No more running, Maya. No more hiding what you are.
The last thing she saw before unconsciousness took her was his eyes, gold and fierce and satisfied, and the silver light still pulsing from where their skin touched. The last thing she felt was the mark spreading, burning new patterns down her arm in intricate lines. And the last thing she thought, with the desperate clarity of the drowning, was that her normal life had just died as surely as the man on her ER table. The monster at her door hadn't come to kill her. He'd come to claim her.
I know you are dying to see what he does next, and we are getting right back to that in a second. But first, welcome to Tales by Moonlight. I want to see who is up late with me tonight. Pause for a second and comment what time it is right now, where you are, and which country you're watching from. Is the moon out in your city? If you love these stories, make sure you tap that subscribe button to join our pack. Now, let's see if she survives this encounter.
Maya woke to unfamiliar ceiling. Wood beams. Vaulted. Expensive. The kind of architecture that belonged in mountain lodges featured in Architectural Digest, not in her life. She bolted upright. Immediate mistake. Her shoulders screamed in protest, the burn so intense she gasped and clutched at it through soft fabric that definitely wasn't her blood-stained scrubs. Someone had changed her clothes. Panic flooded her system. She was wearing a men's flannel shirt, oversized, smelling of pine and something else. Something wild and clean that made her mark pulse with recognition. Her jeans were gone, replaced by soft cotton sleep pants. The bedroom was beautiful. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking mountains she recognized. The Rockies, probably near Estes Park or Golden. Dawn light painted the peaks rose gold, massive bed with white linens. Fireplace, door with a very sturdy-looking lock. On the outside. No. Maya threw off the covers, crossed to the door, yanked the handle. Locked. She was in a cage. A beautiful, expensive cage, but a cage nonetheless. Voices drifted from downstairs. Male, deep, that same commanding tone from her door. And female, older, soothing, the kind of voice that promised safety and warmth. Maya pressed her ear to the door. Unconscious for 18 hours, the woman was saying. The mark's awakening took more from her than I expected. Her body fought it.
Will she be all right?
Physically, yes. Emotionally, a pause. You kidnapped her, Rylan. She's going to be terrified, furious, possibly violent.
I saved her. Cade's pack hit her apartment 3 hours after I took her. If she'd been there...
She doesn't know that. All she knows is a stranger showed up at midnight, branded her, and took her from everything she knows. Silence. Then...
I didn't have a choice. The mark called me. I couldn't. I've never felt anything like it. The pull. Looking at her and knowing she's...
I know. The woman's voice gentled. The bond is powerful, but Maya didn't ask for this. She doesn't even know what she is yet. What she is, not who. What? Maya's hands clenched into fists. The lock clicked. She jumped back as the door swung open, revealing the man from her apartment. Rylan. In daylight, he was somehow more intimidating. 6.3 of controlled power. Dark hair still damp like he'd just showered, wearing jeans and a Henley that did nothing to hide the muscle beneath. But it was his eyes that caught her. Still gold. Still inhuman. But now there was something else in them. Guilt.
You're awake.
Maya's response was immediate and visceral. She punched him. Her fist connected with his jaw. A good hit. All her weight behind it, the way her mother had taught her when she was 16 and working late shifts. Always fight back, baby. Always. Rylan's head snapped to the side. Then he looked back at her, working his jaw. Something that might have been respect flickering in those impossible eyes.
I deserved that.
You deserve a lot more than that. Maya's voice shook with rage. You kidnapped me. You branded me like cattle. You changed my clothes. Where the hell am I? Who the hell are you? What did you do to me? Maya. Don't. She backed away, grabbing a lamp from the nightstand. Pathetic weapon, but better than nothing. Don't say my name like you know me. You don't know anything about me.
I know you're moonbound. I know your mother was Isabella Nightmoon, daughter of the Silverpaw bloodline. I know you've spent 22 years thinking you're human, that the mark on your shoulder was just a birthmark, that the way the full moon makes your skin burn is some rare medical condition.
Every word hit like a physical blow.
I know that you're not human. You never were. And I know that there are people, packs, who want you dead for what that mark represents.
Maya's grip on the lamp tightened. You're insane.
Am I? Look at the mark. Tell me I'm insane.
She didn't want to look. Looking meant acknowledging that something had fundamentally changed. But her shoulder burned with insistence, and her hands moved on their own, pushing the flannel off her shoulder. The mark had spread. What had been a simple crescent moon her entire life was now an intricate pattern. The crescent at the center, surrounded by silver lines that looked like constellations and wolf tracks spiraling down her arm to her elbow, and branded over the original mark, his handprint. Perfect and permanent, like he'd claimed her as his. What did you do to me? She whispered.
I marked you as mine. It's protection. The mark recognizes me now. No other alpha can claim you.
Claim me? I'm not property.
No, you're not. You're the Moonbound Heir. You're a walking weapon that can either break every pack bond in existence or concentrate all that power into a single alpha. You're the most valuable and most dangerous shifter alive. And as of last night, you became visible to every pack with the resources to track power signatures.
The rooms spun. Shifter, pack, moonbound. Words that should belong in fantasy novels, not in her life. I want to go home, Maya said.
Home is compromised. This is security footage from your apartment building. Timestamp 3:47 a.m.
The video showed her apartment hallway. A figure, massive, moving wrong, too fluid, approached her door, tested the handle, then shifted, bones cracking, body reforming, into something between man and wolf. It sniffed at her door, claws gouging the wood. Maya's stomach turned.
That's Cade, Alpha of the Ironclaw pack. He wants to claim you publicly, trigger the full prophecy. Use your power to dominate every pack in North America.
He pocketed the phone. If I hadn't taken you, he would have, and he wouldn't have been gentle about it. So you're the better kidnapper? Maya's laugh was brittle. How noble.
I'm the kidnapper who's trying to keep you alive.
By locking me in a bedroom?
By keeping you somewhere safe while we figure out what to do. I know you're terrified. I know you hate me. I know this is the worst possible introduction to our world. But you need to understand. The marked doesn't lie. You're mine to protect. I physically couldn't hurt you even if I wanted to.
Prove it, Maya challenged. Ryland's jaw clenched. What? You say you can't hurt me. Prove it. Try to hit me. Maya, do it. He stared at her for a long moment, then raised his hand, pulled back as if to strike, and couldn't. His hand froze mid-swing, trembling with effort. Sweat broke out on his forehead. Every muscle in his body strained against invisible chains, and his eyes, gold bleeding to amber to almost brown, filled with pain. Stop, Maya whispered, horrified. Stop, I believe you. He dropped his arm, gasping.
The mark protects you. From me. From any threat. It's not a chain on you. It's a chain on me.
A knock interrupted whatever Maya might have said. Rylan? The woman's voice from earlier. May I come in?
Yes.
The door opened to reveal a woman in her mid-40s. Elegant, silver-streaked dark hair, warm brown eyes, wearing practical jeans and a sweater that screamed kind aunt energy. She carried a tray with tea and what looked like homemade muffins. Maya, she said with a gentle smile, I'm Dr. Cassandra Voss. I'm the pack healer. I've been looking after you while you were unconscious. She set the tray on the nightstand. I know this is overwhelming. Would you like Rylan to leave while we talk? Maya looked between them. Rylan, tense, protective, radiating barely controlled power. Cassandra, warm, maternal, safe. Yes, she said. I want him to leave. Something flashed in Rylan's eyes. Hurt? Anger? But he nodded.
I'll be downstairs. Cassandra will explain everything. Maya, I'm sorry for all of it. But I'm not sorry you're alive.
Then he was gone. Cassandra settled into the armchair by the window, her movements unhurried and calm. Come, sit, have some tea. And let me tell you about what you really are. Maya's hand shook as she reached for the mug, and downstairs, through the floor, she heard a phone ring, Rylan's voice answering, then silence, then a howl, anguished and furious, that shook the windows. Cassandra's face went pale. What? Maya started. The bedroom door slammed open. Rylan stood there, phone in hand, his eyes blazing gold.
Lena, they took Lena.
Maya's mug shattered on the floor. Her roommate, her best friend, the only family she had left. On Rylan's phone screen, a video message. Lena tied to a chair, terrified, a massive rust-colored wolf circling her. And a voice, male, amused, cruel. Tell the Moonbound she has 24 hours to come to me willingly, or I mark the human instead. Your choice, little heir, your freedom, or her life. The video ended. Maya's mark exploded with silver light, and every wolf in the house, she could sense them now, dozens all around her, dropped to their knees with simultaneous gasps of pain, including Rylan. Power, raw and terrible, flooding through her veins like liquid lightning. This was what she was. This was what she could do. And someone had just threatened the only person left in the world that she loved. Maya looked at Rylan, kneeling on the floor, eyes wide with shock and something that looked like awe. Take me to him, she said, and her voice carried command that shouldn't be possible. Take me to Cade. Now. Chapter 3. The wolves rose slowly, shakily, staring at Maya like she'd grown a second head. She barely noticed. Her entire focus was on the frozen video frame on Rylan's phone. Lena, her best friend since college, bound and terrified. How long until we can leave? Maya demanded. Rylan pushed himself to his feet, something like respect warring with concern in his eyes. Maya, you can't just… How long? The command in her voice wasn't intentional. It simply was. And every wolf in the house felt it, their bodies responding before their minds could protest. 2 hours, Rylan said. The words pulled from him. We need to scout Cade's location, gather a team. 1 hour. Maya's mark pulsed with each word. I'm not leaving her there a second longer than necessary. Cassandra stepped forward, hands raised in a placating gesture. Maya, dear, I understand you're frightened for your friend, but rushing in without preparation is… I don't care. Maya turned to the healer, and something in her gaze made Cassandra stop mid-sentence. He has Lena. He's using her as bait because of me. So I'm going to get her back. With or without help. The mark, Cassandra said softly, studying Maya with new intensity. It's responding to your emotions, when you felt threatened, when you felt protective. It lashed out. Good. Maya's voice was ice. Let it. Rylan moved closer, careful, like approaching a wild animal. Listen to me. That power you just used? You dropped 20 wolves simultaneously. You've never shifted, never trained, and you just wielded pack-level compulsion like you've been doing it for years. He caught her gaze. Cade wants you to come raging in. He wants you emotional, unstable, powerful. It makes you easier to claim. The word claim sent a shudder through her mark. Half warning, half revulsion. Then teach me, Maya said. You have 1 hour. Teach me enough to survive. 45 minutes later, Maya stood in Ryland's study, surrounded by wolves who'd introduced themselves in a blur of names she couldn't retain. The only one who stuck was Connor, a sandy-haired beta with kind eyes who'd promised to personally ensure Lena's safety. Cassandra had examined Maya's mark more thoroughly, her fingers cool and clinical against the burning silver lines. The mark has 3 stages, the healer explained, pulling out a leather-bound journal filled with sketches and notes. Dormant, which you were for 22 years. Awakening, which began last night when Ryland touched you. And claimed, which happens when… She paused delicately. When what? Maya pressed. When you complete a mating bond with an alpha? Cassandra's voice remained perfectly neutral. The mark is designed to recognize its mate. It will guide you toward completion of the bond. Maya's eyes shot to Rylan across the room. He was studying maps with Connor, jaw tight, but she saw the tension in his shoulders. I'm not bonding with anyone, Maya said flatly. The mark may have other ideas. Cassandra closed the journal. It responds to 3 primary stimuli: lies, threats, and desire. When someone lies to you directly, it burns. When you're threatened, it pulses as warning. And when you feel attraction, it glows. Maya finished, remembering the silver light that had erupted when Ryland's hand touched hers. Great. A supernatural lie detector and mood ring. More than that. Cassandra's expression turned serious. The mark gives you power over other shifters. What you did downstairs, that was just instinct. Imagine what you could do if you tried. Like what? Command them. Stop them. In theory, you could break pack bonds entirely, or forge new ones. Cassandra leaned closer. That's why you're so dangerous, Maya. You're not just moonbound. You're a reset button for our entire power structure. A throat cleared. Rylan stood at the door. We're ready. Cade's holding her at an abandoned ski lodge near Berthoud Pass. Ironclaw territory. Maya stood. Then let's go. Wait. Cassandra pulled a small vial from her pocket. Take this. If things go wrong, if you feel the mark being forced into a claiming, drink it. It will suppress the bond temporarily. Buy you time. Maya pocketed the vial. Thank you. As they headed for the door, Cassandra called out, Maya, the mark doesn't just react to lies from others. It reacts to lies you tell yourself. Remember that. The drive to Berthoud Pass took 30 minutes of tense silence. Maya sat in the back of Ryland's truck, watching Colorado Highway blur past, her mark a constant burn against her skin. Connor drove while Ryland sat beside her, his presence both comforting and infuriating. Why did you really come for me? Maya asked quietly. Ryland didn't pretend to misunderstand. I was sent to neutralize the Moonbound threat. Alpha's orders. Her mark stayed cool. Truth. Neutralize meaning kill? His jaw clenched. Yes. Still truth. Maya's stomach twisted. But you didn't. No. He turned to look at her, and his eyes had shifted from gold to something warmer, almost amber. The moment I touched your mark, something in me knew. You weren't a threat. You were... He stopped. I was what? Mine to protect, not to harm. His hand lifted, hovering near her face but not quite touching. The bond snapped into place before I even knew what was happening. I couldn't have killed you if I'd wanted to. Maya's mark glowed, soft silver light bleeding through her shirt. Desire. She jerked back. Stop that. I'm not doing anything. You're... She gestured helplessly, being all intense and honest. It's making the mark react. Something that might have been a smile tugged at his lips. The mark responds to truth. And the truth is, Maya Rivera, you're the most terrifying, fascinating, infuriating woman I've ever met. And I'd burn down every pack in North America before I let anyone hurt you. The glow intensified. That's the bond talking, Maya said, but her voice shook. Not real feeling. Is it? Ryland's hand finally made contact, fingertips brushing her cheek. Or is the bond just amplifying what's already there? Maya opened her mouth to argue. The truck jerked to a stop. We're here, Connor said grimly. The ski lodge loomed ahead, abandoned, windows dark, but Maya could see movement inside. Shapes too large to be human, moving with predatory grace, and somewhere in there, Lena was waiting. Maya's mark burned with warning. Ambush, she whispered. Definitely ambush, Rylan agreed. Cade's not subtle. He'll have 20 wolves minimum. We have 6. We have you. Rylan's eyes blazed gold. And you just dropped 20 wolves with a thought. He doesn't know what you're capable of. Hell, you don't know what you're capable of. Great, no pressure. Connor turned from the driver's seat. Alpha, there's something you should see. He pointed to the lodge's entrance. A figure stood there. Massive, 6'4". Easily, with rust-red hair and a smile that promised violence. Behind him, Lena, still bound to a chair, positioned in full view of the parking lot. Cade. He waved. Maya's mark exploded with fury, silver light spilling from her skin, illuminating the truck's interior. Easy, Ryland said. That's what he wants. Lose control, rush in, make mistakes. He has my best friend tied to a chair like bait. I know, and we're going to get her back. But smart, controlled. Ryland's hand found hers and the mark sang at the contact. Together. Maya took a breath. Another. Forced the power back down. Okay, she said. Together. What's the plan? Ryland smiled, fierce and proud. You walk in the front door. Demand Lena's release. Keep Cade talking. And you. I'll be right behind you. Always. Chapter 4. Maya walked through the lodge's entrance alone. Every instinct screamed trap, but Lena was 20 feet ahead, bound and gagged, eyes wide with terror and relief at seeing her. Cade lounged on a leather sofa that had seen better days, surrounded by wolves in half-shift, human bodies with claws and fangs and eyes that gleamed in the darkness. The Moonbound Heir, Cade said, standing with fluid grace, in person, even more beautiful than the stories promised. Let her go. Maya's voice didn't shake. Small miracle. Straight to business. I like that. Cade circled her slowly, assessing. But where are your manners? No hello? No, thank you for not killing my human friend immediately? Maya's mark pulsed, warning. You wanted me here. I'm here. Release Lena. See, that's where we have a problem. Cade stopped in front of her, close enough that she could smell him. Smoke and copper and wild things. You're not here. Not really. You're still Ryland's. I can smell his mark all over you. His hand shot out, gripping her shoulder where the handprint burned. The mark screamed. Maya gasped as pain lanced through her. Not from Cade's touch, but from the mark's rejection of it. Silver light erupted and Cade roared, his hand burning where it touched her. He stumbled back, cradling his hand. What the hell? The mark protects her from other alphas. Ryland's voice cut through the chaos as he emerged from the shadows. Connor and 4 other wolves flanking him. You can't claim what's already bonded. Cade's eyes blazed. She's not fully claimed. I can smell that too. The bond is incomplete. Incomplete or not, she's mine. Ryland positioned himself between Maya and Cade. Release the human. This is between alphas. Is it? Cade's smile turned cruel. Because I think this is about power. The Moonbound Heir can break every pack bond in existence, or concentrate all that power into her mate. Tell me, Ryland, is that why you marked her? Not protection, ambition. Maya's mark burned, and it wasn't warning. It was responding to a lie. No, to a question. The mark testing Ryland's truth. She felt his tension, saw the muscle jump in his jaw. I marked her to save her life, Ryland said. The mark cooled. Truth. But you won't deny, Cade pressed, that you've thought about it. What you could do with that power. You could unite every pack under Nightfall. Become the most powerful alpha in history. Ryland said nothing. And Maya's mark burned because his silence was its own answer. You bastard, she whispered. Maya. She whirled on him. You have thought about it. Using me. The power. Thinking isn't doing. His eyes pleaded. Yes, I've thought about it. I'd be a fool not to consider the implications. But I would never. You're just like him. Maya gestured at Cade. Different packaging. Same endgame. Power. No. Ryland reached for her and she jerked back. I chose to protect you. Every decision since I found you has been about keeping you safe. By locking me in a bedroom, by keeping secrets, by marking me without permission. Cade laughed. Trouble in paradise already? This is delicious. Maya ignored him. Her mark was a bonfire now, reacting to the truth and lies swirling through the room. Ryland's truths about protection, his unspoken considerations about power. Cade's manipulations. Cassandra's warnings. The mark responds to lies you tell yourself. What lies had she been telling? That she was safe with Ryland? That the mark was just supernatural compulsion, not real feeling? That she could go back to her normal life after this? All lies. The truth was simpler and more terrifying. She was in a world she didn't understand, bound to a man she barely knew, hunted by others who wanted to use her, and the only person she trusted was tied to a chair as leverage. Enough, Maya said, and power rolled through her voice. Every wolf in the room froze. She walked to Lena, her mark blazing with silver light, and the ropes simply fell away. Not cut, not untied. The mark's power unmaking them at a molecular level. Run, Maya told Lena. Connor will take you somewhere safe. Maya. Lena's voice was hoarse from screaming. Go. Lena ran. Connor and 2 wolves escorted her out, leaving Maya alone with 2 alphas and a dozen hostile wolves. Interesting, Cade said. You freed the human. Now what? Now I make a deal. Maya turned to face both alphas. You both want the power the mark represents. Fine. Here's the offer. Neither of you gets it. Ryland's eyes widened. Maya. I'm not finishing the bond with you, she told him, and I'm sure as hell not bonding with him. She looked at Cade. The mark's power stays with me, unclaimed, uncontrolled, a threat to everyone equally. That's suicide, Cade said. Unclaimed Moonbound heirs don't survive. Someone will always try to force the bond. History proves it. Then I'll fight. Forever if I have to. Maya's mark pulsed with each word. I'm not a prize to be won. I'm not a weapon to be wielded. I'm a person. And I choose freedom. Silence. Then Cade moved, impossibly fast, shifting mid-leap into his wolf form, massive and rust-colored and furious. Rylan intercepted, his own shift explosive, Black Wolf meeting Red in a collision that shook the floorboards. And Maya felt the mark open inside her, not claiming, not bonding, awakening. Power flooded her veins, and she understood in a crystal-clear instant what she could do, what she'd always been able to do, if she'd just stopped being afraid. She couldn't shift. Not yet. But she could command. Stop. Both alphas froze mid-fight, held immobile by the weight of her will. Shift back. They did, bodies reforming to human, both naked and panting and staring at her with shock and awe and fear. I don't want to be your weapon, Maya said quietly. Either of you. But I will use this power to protect myself and the people I love. And if anyone, tries to force me into a bond I don't choose, I'll break every pack bond you have. I'll leave you powerless, human. She released them. Both alphas collapsed, gasping. Now. Maya looked at Cade. We're leaving. You're not going to stop us. You're not going to follow. And you're going to tell whoever sent you that the Moonbound Heir isn't interested in being claimed. Cade laughed, breathless, pained, but genuine. You're magnificent. Absolutely terrifying. I can see why Rylan can't kill you. Is that a yes? That's I'm not stupid enough to fight someone who can unmake me with a word. He stood, still naked, utterly unashamed. But this isn't over, little heir. Others will come, stronger than me, smarter. And eventually, you'll have to choose. Bond with someone willingly, or be forced. I'll take my chances. Maya turned and walked out, her mark blazing like a beacon. Rylan followed, silent. They didn't speak until they reached the truck where Lena waited, wrapped in blankets, shaking but alive. Maya, Rylan started. Don't. She climbed into the truck. Just take us home. Lena's home. And then I need space to figure out what the hell I'm doing. He nodded, jaw tight. The drive back was silent except for Lena's quiet crying and Maya's mark, still burning with the echoes of power she'd wielded. She'd stopped 2 alphas with words. She'd freed herself with choice. But Cade's warning echoed. Eventually, you'll have to choose. And Maya didn't know if she was strong enough to keep choosing freedom when the whole world wanted to chain her. Chapter 5. 3 days passed in careful detente. Rylan had kept his word. Connor drove Maya and Lena back to Denver, to Lena's parents' house in Highlands Ranch, where no pack would dare cause trouble in such a human-saturated neighborhood. Maya stayed with them, ignoring the 17 missed calls from Rylan and the constant pull of the mark urging her toward him. Lena recovered with the resilience of someone who'd survived too much already. By day 2, she was cracking jokes about dating a werewolf for the story potential. By day 3, she was demanding answers. So you're, what, werewolf royalty? Lena asked over coffee in her childhood bedroom, surrounded by high school theater posters and debate team trophies. Apparently. Maya traced the silver lines on her arm. They'd spread further, creeping toward her wrist. The mark makes me valuable and dangerous. And that Rylan guy? The stupidly hot one with the murder eyes? Marked me as his. Without asking. Maya's voice was flat. But he also saved your life. Multiple times. Lena sipped her coffee thoughtfully. I mean, he's clearly obsessed with you. The way he looked at you in that lodge? Like you were the only person in the room. Like he'd burn the world down if you asked. That's the bond. Supernatural compulsion. Or maybe it's both. Lena set down her mug. Look, I'm not saying trust him. God knows he's earned your anger. But Maya, he could have let Cade take you. Could have used your power like everyone keeps saying. He didn't. He chose you over that power. That counts for something. Maya's mark pulsed warm agreement. Traitor. I can't trust him, Maya said. Not fully. Not when everyone wants to use me. Then don't trust him, but maybe listen to your gut. Or your magic shoulder. Whichever's smarter. A knock at the door interrupted. Lena's mother. Maya? Someone's here for you. Dread pooled in Maya's stomach. Tell me it's not... It's a woman? Says she's Dr. Voss? The healer you mentioned? Maya exchanged glances with Lena. Stay here. Cassandra waited in the living room, looking perfectly composed in slacks and a cashmere sweater, completely at odds with the werewolf politics she represented. Maya. Cassandra's smile was warm. I'm glad you're safe. How are you feeling? Confused. Angry. Take your pick. Maya crossed her arms. What do you want? To help. Cassandra pulled a folder from her bag. I've been researching your mark. Its history. And I found something you need to see. She spread documents across the coffee table. Old photographs, journal entries, newspaper clippings. The last Moonbound Heir, Cassandra said, pointing to a faded photo of a young woman with familiar silver marks. Her name was Elena Silverpaw. Your grandmother. Maya's breath caught. My mother never mentioned. Your mother fled to protect you, but Elena's story is important. Cassandra's finger traced the timeline. She was awakened at 21, marked by an alpha named Matthias Blackwood, Ryland's grandfather. The room tilted. Ryland's grandfather was bonded to my grandmother? Bonded, yes, but not claimed. Elena refused to complete the bond. She believed the mark's power should remain independent, not controlled by any alpha. Cassandra pulled out another document. She was brilliant, strong, and she paid for her choice. The newspaper clipping was dated 40 years ago. Local woman killed in animal attack. She was murdered, Cassandra said quietly. By a coalition of alphas who feared her power. They made it look like a rogue wolf attack. But it was assassination. Maya's hands shook. And my mother? Escaped. She was 12. Changed her name, hid among humans, married a human man, and had you. Cassandra met Maya's eyes. She spent her life running from what killed her mother. And she died making sure you could do the same. The mark burned with grief and fury and bitter understanding. Why are you telling me this? Maya demanded. Because history is repeating. Cassandra's voice turned urgent. Elena refused to bond. She was killed. You're refusing to bond. And the same coalition that killed her is reforming. I've heard whispers. Old alphas gathering, planning. They call themselves the Restoration. Let them come. Maya, you can't fight an army alone. Watch me. Cassandra's expression hardened. You're being foolish. The mark's power is incomplete without a mate. You're vulnerable. And stubborn pride will get you killed just like it killed Elena. Something in her tone made Maya's mark pulse warning. You sound almost frustrated, Maya said slowly. Like you have a stake in this. Cassandra's smile didn't quite reach her eyes. I'm a healer. I hate seeing preventable deaths. And your death, Maya, would be very preventable if you'd just accept the bond Rylan is offering. The mark burned. Lie. Not the whole statement. Just something underneath it. Why do you care so much whether I bond with Rylan? Maya asked. I raised him after his parents died. I want him happy. Truth, but not complete truth. What aren't you telling me? Maya pressed. Cassandra stood, gathering her documents. I'm telling you that you have a choice. Bond with Rylan willingly and gain the power to protect yourself, or remain alone and vulnerable until someone forces the bond. Or kills you trying. She headed for the door, then paused. Your grandmother refused to bond out of pride. She died alone and terrified. Don't make the same mistake. After she left, Maya sat staring at the documents spread across the table. Her grandmother, marked, murdered. Her mother, running, dead too young. And now her, repeating the cycle. Lena emerged from hiding in the hallway. I heard everything. That healer lady is sketchy as hell. She's hiding something. Yeah, question is what? Lena picked up the newspaper clipping. Your family has seriously tragic genetics. Maya's phone buzzed. Rylan. We need to talk. Found something about Cassandra. It's bad. Her mark pulsed urgently. Looks like someone else thinks she's sketchy too, Lena observed. Maya stared at the message. Every instinct said trap. But the mark was reacting, and it had kept her alive so far. She texted back. Where? Red Rocks Amphitheater. Sunset. Come alone. Classic dramatic werewolf move. I'm going with you, Lena announced. Absolutely not. You just got kidnapped 3 days ago. Which is exactly why I'm going. Lena's jaw set with familiar stubbornness. You need backup. Human backup that won't be affected by your magic shoulder command voice. I'm coming. Maya wanted to argue, but looking at her best friend, brave, loyal, ridiculous Lena, she realized she didn't want to face this alone. Fine, but you stay in the car. We'll see. Red Rocks at sunset was stunning, the ancient stone formations glowing orange and red, the amphitheater empty of tourists, just Maya and Lena walking toward the stage where Rylan waited. He wasn't alone. Connor stood beside him, along with another wolf Maya didn't recognize. Female, maybe 30, with short dark hair and calculating eyes. Maya. Rylan's relief was visible. Thank you for coming. You said you found something about Cassandra. We did. He gestured to the unknown woman. This is Sienna. She's a pack archivist from the Silverpaw lineage, your grandmother's pack. Sienna stepped forward, pulling out a tablet. I've been tracking Cassandra Voss for 15 years. She's not who she claims. What do you mean? Her real name is Cassandra Thorne. She's 237 years old. The world tilted. That's impossible, Maya breathed. Not for a healer who's mastered forbidden magic. Sienna swiped through images. She's been body-hopping through her bloodline for centuries, possessing her own descendants, extending her life indefinitely. And she has a very specific goal. Another swipe. Old documents, faded with age. 200 years ago, there was a Moonbound Heir. The mark's power was used to break pack bonds across North America. Cassandra, under a different name, was the healer who orchestrated it. She drained the heir's power, tried to use it to control all packs herself. What happened? She was stopped. Barely. The mark bearer died, and Cassandra went into hiding, waiting for another heir to surface. Maya's stomach dropped. My grandmother. Yes, Elena Silverpaw. Cassandra tried to manipulate her into bonding with Matthias Blackwood, Rylan's grandfather. When Elena refused, Cassandra orchestrated her assassination. The mark exploded with fury. She killed my grandmother to force another heir? Maya's voice shook. No. Sienna's expression was grim. She killed Elena to ensure the bloodline would continue through your mother, a child she could track, mold. Prepare for the next generation. She's been planning this for 40 years, Maya. Waiting for you. Rylan moved closer. That's why she pushed me to mark you. Why she keeps encouraging the bond. She needs you fully claimed to access the mark's complete power. Then she'll drain you, just like she drained the heirs before. Maya couldn't breathe. Cassandra. Kind, motherly Cassandra. had been playing them both from the start. "Where is she now?" Maya asked. "That's the problem," Connor said. "She disappeared 2 hours ago. Took everything from her office at Ryland's estate. She knows we know." Maya's mark burned with warning. Too late. Silver light erupted around them, a ritual circle activating beneath their feet, and Cassandra stepped from the shadows, flanked by a dozen wolves Maya didn't recognize. "I was hoping," Cassandra said, voice cold and nothing like the warm healer, "to do this the easy way, convince you to bond willingly, but you're as stubborn as your grandmother." Her hand rose, and the wolves attacked. Chapter 6. The ritual circle blazed with silver light, trapping Maya, Rylan, Connor, Sienna, and Lena inside, while Cassandra's wolves circled like sharks. 2 centuries, Cassandra said, descending the amphitheater steps with the confidence of someone who'd already won. "I've waited 2 centuries for another bloodline pure enough to carry the moonbound mark. Do you know how boring that is? Jumping from body to body, playing the patient healer, watching alphas strut around thinking they're gods?" Maya's mark screamed against the ritual binding, but the circle held. Ancient magic, older than pack law. "You killed my grandmother," Maya said, voice shaking with rage. "I freed her from a life of being hunted." Cassandra's smile was sharp. Elena was weak, refused the bond, refused the power, and died terrified and alone. I made sure her daughter survived. Made sure Isabella would breed true, and here you are. Perfect. Powerful. Ripe for harvest. "Harvest?" Ryland snarled, shifting halfway, claws and fangs emerging. "The mark's power doesn't belong to one person," Cassandra explained like she was teaching a class. "It's meant to be distributed, shared, and I've spent 200 years learning how to extract it without killing the host. Well," she tilted her head, "without killing them immediately, you'll live long enough to see what I build with your power." She raised both hands, and the ritual circle constricted, silver chains of light wrapping around Maya's arms, her legs, her throat. The mark fought back, exploding with defensive power, but Cassandra's magic was ancient and practiced. The chains tightened. "Let her go!" Lena screamed and launched herself at the circle's edge. The barrier threw her back 10 feet. She hit the stone seating with a sickening crack. "Lena!" Maya's scream tore from her throat, and the mark detonated. Silver light exploded outward, shattering 3 of the ritual circle's anchor points. The barrier flickered. Cassandra's eyes widened. Impossible. That circle has held Moonbound Heirs for... Maya didn't wait for the lecture. She pulled on the mark's power, remembering how she'd commanded the alphas, and aimed that force at the chains. "Break!" They shattered. Cassandra stumbled back. "You can't... You're not fully awakened." "Watch me." Maya's skin glowed silver, the mark spreading across her entire body in intricate patterns, not claiming, not bonding. Just raw, primal power. "You want the mark's strength? Here it is." She thrust her hands forward, and silver light poured from her, crashing into Cassandra's wolves. But instead of harming them, the light freed them. Maya felt the compulsion magic binding them to Cassandra, felt how the healer had been controlling them with dark healing magic, twisting their loyalty, and she cut those threads. One by one, the wolves collapsed, gasping, their eyes clearing from glazed obedience to shocked awareness. "What?" One of them, a young male, stared at his hands. "What did she do to us?" "She used you," Maya said. "Cassandra's been controlling you, probably for years. You're free now." They turned on Cassandra as one. The healer's composure cracked. "No. No. You're mine. I made you loyal." "You made us slaves," the young wolf snarled. Cassandra's hands moved in complex patterns, dark magic swirling, but Rylan was faster. He shifted fully, his massive black wolf form slamming into her, jaws closing on her arm. She screamed, and the sound was wrong, layered, multiple voices echoing from one throat, the bodies she'd possessed, all crying out at once. "Rylan, wait!" Sienna shouted. "If you kill her now, the consciousness transfer spell activates. She'll jump to the nearest viable host." Maya's eyes widened. "Lena!" She ran to where Lena lay crumpled against the seats. Her best friend was unconscious, blood trickling from her temple, breathing shallow. And Cassandra's laugh echoed through the amphitheater. "Smart girl," the healer rasped, pinned beneath Ryland's wolf. "I always keep a backup plan. Kill this body, I take the humans, or..." Her eyes found Maya. "I take yours? Imagine me, with the Moonbound mark. 2 centuries of knowledge in the most powerful body in existence." "You can't possess someone with the mark," Maya said, but her voice shook. "Can't I? Who do you think wrote the rules?" Cassandra's smile was blood-stained and triumphant. "I've been inside Moonbound Heirs before. It's exquisite. All that power, none of the moral complications." Ryland's jaws tightened, ready to kill. "Stop!" Maya commanded, and he froze. "If you kill her, she jumps to Lena or me. We need another way." "There is no other way," Sienna said grimly. "Possession magic this old. Once triggered, it can't be stopped. Only redirected." Maya's mind raced. Redirect, not stop. Redirect to... Her eyes locked on Cassandra's. "You want a body?" Maya said softly. "Take mine." Maya. "No." Ryland shifted human, horror in his eyes. "It's the only way to save Lena." Maya knelt beside Cassandra, pulling Ryland's claws away from the healer's throat. "You want the mark? You want this power? Come and get it." Cassandra's eyes gleamed with victory. Finally, some sense. Her hands shot up, grabbing Maya's face, and dark magic poured into her. Cassandra's consciousness invading, trying to shove Maya's soul aside and take control. But Maya had been counting on that. The mark wasn't just defensive. It responded to will, to choice, to the determination to remain herself. As Cassandra's consciousness flooded in, Maya grabbed it. Not to fight, to absorb. She dove into Cassandra's memories, ripping through 2 centuries of knowledge. Every body possessed, every heir drained, every pack manipulated. She saw Elena's murder through Cassandra's eyes, saw her mother fleeing with toddler Maya, saw Cassandra whispering poison in young Ryland's ear, grooming him for this exact moment. And she saw the source of Cassandra's power, a ritual scar hidden beneath her ribs, connecting her to a dark artifact buried beneath Denver. There. Maya's consciousness surged through the connection, following it to the artifact, a stone carved with binding runes, and she shattered it with the mark's power. Cassandra's scream was inhuman. Her consciousness recoiled, trying to retreat to her body, but it had nowhere to go. The anchor was destroyed, the possession spell collapsed, and Cassandra's soul, ancient, twisted, evil, simply dissolved. 200 years of stolen life ending in an instant. Maya gasped, slamming back into her own body, and collapsed. Ryland caught her. "Maya, Maya, talk to me." Her voice was hoarse. "I'm okay. She's gone. Really gone." Cassandra's body lay empty, aging rapidly now that the magic sustaining it was broken. Within seconds, it was dust. The freed wolves stared in shock and horror. Connor rushed to Lena, checking her pulse. "She's alive. Concussion, but she'll be okay." Maya let out a sob of relief. Ryland pulled her close, and she didn't have the strength to pull away. "That was the most terrifying, brilliant, stupid thing I've ever seen." "Had to save Lena," Maya mumbled into his chest. "You could have been possessed." Lost yourself forever. But I wasn't. She pulled back to meet his eyes. The mark protected me. Kept me me. That's what it does, right? It doesn't chain. It preserves choice. Understanding dawned in his eyes. You figured out what it really is. It's not a weapon. It's not a tool for control. Maya looked at her glowing marks. It's freedom. The power to stay yourself no matter what anyone tries to make you. Sienna approached carefully. The Silverpaw Pack owes you a debt. You freed those wolves from compulsion, destroyed the healer who's been poisoning pack politics for centuries. She knelt. We would be honored if you'd consider. I'm not joining a pack, Maya said gently but firmly. I'm not bonding with an alpha. I'm just going to be Maya. That's enough. Ryland's hand tightened on hers. What about us? She looked at him. Really looked. At the man who'd kidnapped her but also saved her. Who'd marked her but never forced the bond. Who'd stood between her and every threat. I don't know, she said honestly. The mark says you're my mate. But I need to figure out what I say. Not the mark. Not fate. Me. He nodded, pain and understanding warring in his expression. Take all the time you need. I'll be here. Always. Her mark glowed soft silver. Not commanding. Not claiming. Just warm. Chapter 7. 2 weeks after Cassandra's death, Maya's life was chaos. The freed wolves had scattered to their original packs, spreading the truth about the healer's manipulation. Some packs celebrated. Others, the ones who'd profited from Cassandra's schemes, were furious, which was how Maya found herself in an abandoned warehouse in 5 Points at 2 a.m., facing down Dr. Gerald Cross and 20 wolves, who very much wanted her dead. Cross was late 50s, silver-haired, with the cold eyes of a true believer. He'd been Cassandra's partner in the original ritual 200 years ago, another body hopper, another monster hiding in healer's clothing. You killed her, Cross said, his voice echoing off concrete walls. 2 centuries of work, gone because one stubborn girl couldn't accept her purpose. Her purpose was enslaving people, Maya shot back. She stood her ground despite being outnumbered 20-1. Rylan and his wolves were 3 minutes out. She just had to survive until then. And you helped her. We were building something beautiful. Cross's hands glowed with the same dark magic Cassandra had wielded. A world without the chaos of pack hierarchy. Order. Control. Peace. You mean tyranny. Semantics. He smiled. Cassandra's gone, but her vision lives on. And you, little heir, are going to help us complete it. Willingly or not. The wolves advanced. Maya's mark flared, and she felt the power that had defeated Cassandra surge through her veins. But this was different. These wolves weren't compelled. They were believers. True fanatics who thought enslaving their own kind was righteous. She couldn't free minds that had chosen chains. Last chance, Cross said. Submit to the ritual. Let us extract the mark's power, or we do this the hard way. Hard way, Maya said, and pulled. Silver light exploded from her mark, crashing into the advancing wolves. Half of them dropped, overwhelmed by the sheer force of her will. But the other half, Cross's inner circle, all wearing artifacts similar to what Cassandra had used, resisted. We prepared for you, Cross laughed, raising his hand. Dark magic slammed into Maya, and she screamed. Pain unlike anything she'd felt before, worse than the mark's awakening, worse than Cassandra's possession attempt. This was the mark being attacked, someone trying to rip it from her soul while she was still breathing. She fell to her knees, silver light flickering. Cross approached, pulling out a ritual knife. The extraction works better if you're conscious. You'll feel every second as we peel the power from your bones. The blade descended and stopped. Ryland's hand caught Cross's wrist, his wolf form having crossed the warehouse in a blur of black fur and fury. Connor and 6 Nightfall wolves poured through the entrance, crashing into Cross's followers. "You're late," Maya gasped. Rylan shifted human, positioning himself over her. "Traffic. You okay?" "Been better." Cross wrenched free, his magic crackling. "The Alpha? Cassandra always said you were too weak to see what the mark really meant. Power beyond imagination, and you'd rather play protector." "I'd rather be worthy of her," Rylan snarled. "How touching." Cross's hands moved in complex patterns, and 5 of his wolves shifted, attacking Rylan simultaneously. The warehouse erupted into chaos. Maya tried to stand, but the mark's pain kept her down. Cross had done something, damaged the connection, made it bleed power. She could feel it draining, her strength flowing out like water through cupped hands. If she didn't stop it, the mark would burn itself out trying to heal. She'd be powerless, vulnerable, dead. Through the pain, she heard Lena's voice in her memory. "Maybe listen to your gut, or your magic shoulder. Whichever's smarter." Her magic shoulder was currently being flayed from the inside. But her gut said there was something she'd missed. Some aspect of the mark she hadn't understood. Cassandra had tried to extract the power. Cross was trying to extract the power. Everyone wanted to take it. But what if the mark's true strength wasn't in taking? Maya closed her eyes, ignoring the battle raging around her, and instead of fighting the drain, she surrendered to it. Let the power flow out. But this time, she directed it. To Rylan, fighting 5 wolves at once, to Connor, taking a vicious slash across his ribs, to every Nightfall wolf risking their life to protect her. Silver light poured from her mark into them, and their eyes blazed with sudden strength. Wounds healed instantly. Exhaustion vanished. They fought with renewed ferocity, enhanced by her power, not controlling them, empowering them. Cross's eyes widened in horror. "No, that's not how it works. The mark doesn't share, it commands." "You're wrong," Maya said, standing despite the pain. "You've always been wrong. The mark isn't about control. It's about connection." She reached deeper, found the thread connecting her to every wolf in the warehouse, friend and foe alike, and instead of commanding, she offered freedom, choice, the option to reject Cross's poison and choose their own path. 3 of Cross's wolves broke away from the fight, stumbling, their eyes clearing. She's in my head," one gasped. "But she's not taking. She's asking. Choose," Maya said simply. They chose her. Cross screamed, his control shattering, and in his rage, he made a mistake. He attacked Maya directly, ritual knife blazing with dark magic, going for her heart. Rylan intercepted, taking the blade meant for her straight through his shoulder. He didn't make a sound. Just grabbed Cross's wrist and broke it with a sickening crack. The knife clattered to the floor. "She's not yours to harm," Rylan growled, and there was something absolutely final in his voice. Cross fell back, cradling his shattered wrist, and his remaining loyal wolves closed ranks around him. "This isn't over," Cross spat. "The Restoration has dozens of cells, hundreds of members. You killed Cassandra, but the movement is bigger than one healer." "Then we'll face them," Maya said. "All of them. Together." Cross's smile was bitter. "You can't fight forever, little heir. Eventually, you'll be overwhelmed. Killed. And someone else will take that mark and use it properly." "Maybe," Maya acknowledged, "but I'll die free. Can you say the same?" No answer. Cross and his remaining wolves retreated into the Denver night, leaving behind their converted packmates and the wreckage of their failed extraction. Maya collapsed against Rylan, and he held her, blood from his shoulder wound soaking into her shirt. "You're hurt," she said. "I'm fine." His eyes searched hers. "You shared your power with us. I felt it. Your strength, flowing into me." The mark wanted to protect you. I just let it. Maya, his voice was rough. That bond you keep refusing, it's already there. Not complete, but there. You felt it too, didn't you? When I took that blade. She had. The mark had screamed when he was hurt, demanded she heal him, protect him, keep him safe. Not because of compulsion, because somewhere in the chaos of the past 2 weeks, she'd started to care. I felt it, she admitted. But that doesn't mean... It doesn't mean you have to complete the bond, I know. He rested his forehead against hers. I'm just saying, when you're ready, if you're ever ready, I'll be here. Not as the alpha who marked you, just as Rylan, the man who's stupidly, impossibly in love with you. Her mark glowed, warm and insistent, and Maya, for the first time, didn't fight it. I need time, she said. You have it. All the time you need. Connor approached, supporting one of the converted wolves. Alpha, we should move. Cross will regroup, and this location is compromised. Rylan nodded, standing, pulling Maya up with him. Back to the estate. We'll fortify, plan our next move. As they headed for the vehicles, Lena appeared from where she'd been hiding behind a crate, because of course she'd followed despite being told to stay at her parents' house. That was simultaneously the most terrifying and most badass thing I've ever seen, Lena announced. You literally glowed like a disco ball and made wolves choose freedom. I'm writing a podcast episode about this. You're writing a fictional podcast episode, Maya corrected. Obviously, no one would believe the truth anyway. They piled into trucks, wounded but alive, and drove back to Ryland's mountain estate as dawn broke over the Rockies. Maya watched the sunrise and felt the mark pulse in time with her heartbeat. Cross was right about one thing: this wasn't over. The restoration would come. Other threats would emerge. People would always want the mark's power, but she wasn't alone anymore. And maybe, just maybe, that would be enough. Chapter 8. The restoration struck at dawn. Maya woke to alarms and shouting, Ryland's estate under full assault. She stumbled from her bedroom. She'd stayed there willingly this time, recovering from the warehouse fight, to find chaos. 20 wolves in coordinated formation breaching the perimeter. Not random attack. Tactical. Cross had regrouped faster than expected. Maya, stay inside. Ryland shouted from below, already half-shifted, coordinating defense. She ignored him. Her mark had been singing all night, power building like a storm. The sharing she'd done in the warehouse had changed something fundamental. The mark wasn't just reactive anymore, it was anticipatory. Warning her. Preparing her. Something big was coming. She reached the great room as the first window shattered. A rust-colored wolf, not Cade, but bearing his pack's scent, crashed through, going straight for Connor. Maya's hand shot out, and Silverlight slammed the attacker mid-leap, pinning it to the wall. Stop. Her command voice had evolved, not just freezing them, compelling absolute obedience. The wolf whimpered, trapped. Who sent you? Maya demanded. The wolf shifted human. Young male, terrified. The restoration. They said if we brought you to the convergence point, they'd give us power. Real power. Not borrowed from alphas. Convergence point? Union Station. Midnight tonight. His eyes were glazed, fanatic. They're gathering everyone who believes in the old healer's vision. Hundreds, maybe thousands. They're going to complete the ritual she started. With or without you. Maya's blood ran cold. They're going to create another Moonbound Heir, Sienna said, appearing from the back hallway where she'd been researching. Using combined pack magic and stolen artifacts. It won't be natural like you, but it'll be powerful enough to execute Cassandra's plan. Can they do that? Maya asked. In theory. Sienna's face was grim. But the process requires sacrifice. They'd have to kill hundreds to fuel the ritual. Rylan appeared at Maya's side, bloodied but alive. Then we stop them. Tonight. How? Connor demanded. We have 30 wolves. They have hundreds, spread across multiple packs, all believing they're saving the world from alpha tyranny. Maya looked at her mark, glowing steady silver. She'd shared power with Rylan's wolves, freed Cassandra's compelled followers. But this required something bigger. I need to go there, she said quietly, to the convergence point. Absolutely not, Rylan said immediately. They want a moonbound heir? I'll give them one. Maya's voice strengthened. But not the weapon they expect. I'll show them what the mark really means. Maya, they'll kill you the second you arrive. Not if I give them exactly what they want. Me, willingly, at the ritual site. She met his eyes. And then I'll show every wolf there the truth. Let them choose. That's insane. That's the only way to end this without war. She grabbed his hand. I can do this. The mark. It's been preparing me for this. I feel it. Rylan looked like he wanted to argue, but Lena, surprisingly, spoke up. She's right. You can't fight belief with violence. You fight it with better belief. She looked at Maya. Show them the mark isn't about control. Show them freedom is better than power. Silence. Then Sienna. If she's going in, she needs backup, not fighters, witnesses, wolves from every pack who've seen what she can really do. I'll go, Connor said immediately. And me, said one of the converted wolves from the warehouse fight. Others volunteered. Within minutes, Maya had 20 wolves from 8 different packs willing to stand with her. We go in peacefully, Maya said. No weapons, no threats, just truth. Rylan pulled her aside. If this goes wrong, if they hurt you, then you'll do what you have to. She touched his face. But have faith. In me. In this. His eyes blazed gold. I have faith in you. I always have. He kissed her, desperate and claiming and real, and the mark exploded with light. Not bonding. Not yet. But close. So close. When they broke apart, both glowing, Maya smiled. Hold that thought, for after I save the world from fanatics. You're going to give me a heart attack one of these days. You're immortal. You'll survive. Union Station at midnight was beautiful and terrifying. The historic Denver landmark had been cleared of humans. Restoration wolves had seen to that. The Great Hall was filled with shifters. Hundreds of them, from dozens of packs, all gathered for the ritual. At the center, a massive circle carved into the floor, glowing with dark magic. And standing at its heart, Dr. Gerald Cross, his broken wrist healed, his smile triumphant. The Moonbound Heir, he announced as Maya entered with her witnesses. Come willingly to complete the work Cassandra began. How poetic. I came to offer you a choice, Maya said, her voice carrying through the hall. All of you. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. The mark you want. The power you think will free you from alpha control. It doesn't work the way you think. She stepped toward the circle. Cassandra lied. Cross is lying. The mark isn't about controlling others. It's about refusing to be controlled. Pretty words, Cross said. But we know better. We've seen what you can do. Drop wolves with a command. Free them from compulsion. Imagine that power multiplied. Distributed. Everyone equal. That's not equality, Maya countered. That's replacing one hierarchy with another. Healer-controlled instead of alpha-controlled. Same chains, different hands. Then show us, someone shouted from the crowd. Prove the mark does what you say. Maya took a breath. This was it. She stepped into the ritual circle and Cross's smile widened. Foolish girl! You've just given us exactly what we... Maya raised her hand and pulled. Not on the wolves, on the circle itself. Cassandra's ritual had been designed to extract power, but Maya had absorbed Cassandra's knowledge when she'd invaded her mind. She knew how the magic worked, and she knew how to reverse it. Instead of the circle taking from her, she poured her power into it, but transformed. Not extraction, liberation. Silver light exploded from the circle, washing over every wolf in Union Station, and each one felt it. The mark's true purpose, not to command, not to control, to preserve self, to make it impossible for anyone, alpha, healer, government, or God, to take away their choice. One by one, wolves throughout the hall gasped as the revelation hit them. They'd been manipulated, controlled. Fed lies about liberation that were just new forms of slavery, and the mark was offering something different: the power to remain themselves. Cross screamed, his magic unraveling as his followers' belief shattered. "No, this isn't. You're supposed to. I'm supposed to be a weapon," Maya said softly, "but I choose to be a shield." The ritual circle imploded, dark magic consuming itself, and Cross was caught in the backlash. He aged rapidly, 200 years of stolen life catching up in seconds, and crumbled to dust just like Cassandra. Silence fell over Union Station. Then one wolf knelt. Then another. Not submission. Recognition. "Thank you," the first wolf said, the young male from the warehouse, "for showing us we don't need someone else's power. We just need our own." Maya helped him stand. "No kneeling. We're equals. That's the whole point." Slowly the crowd dispersed, some angry at being deceived, some relieved to be free, some still uncertain. But none of them wanted to complete Cross's ritual anymore. Rylan appeared at her side as the last wolves filed out. "You did it. We did it." She leaned against him, exhausted. "Is it over?" "For now." He wrapped his arms around her. "But Cross was right about one thing. The restoration is bigger than 2 healers. There will be others. Then we'll face them. Together." She meant it. Somewhere in the chaos of the past 3 weeks, she'd stopped fighting the bond and started accepting it. Not because the mark demanded it. Because her heart did. Chapter 9. 6 months later, Maya's life had found a strange new normal. She'd moved into Ryland's estate, not as prisoner, but as partner. Her apartment in Capitol Hill sat empty, a relic of a life she could never return to. Lena visited weekly, usually with Connor in tow. They were officially dating now, much to Lena's podcast audience's delight. Maya worked part-time at Denver Health still, carefully scheduling around full moons and pack business. Her colleagues noticed she seemed different, more confident, less exhausted, but attributed it to finally finding work-life balance. If only they knew. The mark had settled into a constant warm presence on her shoulder, the silver lines now visible even without activation. She'd stopped trying to hide it. Let people stare. Let them wonder. Rylan had been patient. Infuriatingly, perfectly patient. Never pushing for the bond's completion, content to simply be near her. They shared a bed most nights, intimate in ways that had nothing to do with the mate bond and everything to do with genuine connection. But Maya felt the pull. The mark's insistence that they finish what they'd started. And her own heart, finally admitting what she'd known since the warehouse. She loved him. Not because of fate, not because of magic, because Rylan Blackwood was stubborn and protective and honest and hers. She just hadn't figured out how to say it. The peace shattered on a Tuesday. Maya was in the estate's kitchen making coffee when Sienna burst through the door, tablet in hand, face pale. "We have a problem." Rylan appeared from his study, Connor right behind him. "What kind of problem?" "The kind where someone's been experimenting with Cassandra's research." Sienna pulled up footage on her tablet. A laboratory, sterile and modern, filled with wolves in cages. This facility was discovered 3 hours ago outside Colorado Springs. They're using modified versions of the extraction ritual, testing it on captured shifters. Maya's stomach turned. The wolves in the cages were screaming, silver light being ripped from their bodies. They're trying to create artificial moonbound marks. Sienna continued. The experiments are failing. The subjects are dying. But they're getting closer. And if they succeed, they'll have their own weapon. Rylan finished grimly. One they can control from the start. Who's running it? Maya asked. Sienna's expression turned darker. That's the worst news. It's not restoration remnants. It's government-backed. Someone in Homeland Security found out about shifters, about the mark, and decided we're a national security threat. The room went silent. This wasn't pack politics anymore. This was human government with unlimited resources deciding to weaponize supernatural biology. They have 37 wolves in that facility, Sienna said, all marked variants, rare bloodlines with partial abilities. They're using them as test subjects to reverse engineer the moonbound gene. Maya's mark burned with fury. Where is it? Maya, Rylan started. Where? Sienna hesitated then. Rivera Space Force Base, 40 minutes south, high security, military grade. Then we break in. Tonight. Free those wolves. Maya's voice carried command that made every wolf in the room straighten. Breaking into a military base is an act of war, Connor said carefully, against the human government. If we're caught, then we don't get caught. Maya looked at Rylan. I'm going, with or without backup. His eyes blazed gold. You know I'm coming. So am I, Lena announced from the doorway, because of course she'd let herself in and been eavesdropping. Absolutely not, Maya said immediately. This is too dangerous. Those are people being tortured? You think I'm sitting this out? Lena's jaw set with familiar stubbornness. Besides, you need someone who knows how to bypass electronic security. What? You think your alpha boyfriend knows his way around biometric locks? Rylan looked mildly offended. I could figure it out. In the next 6 hours? Sure. Lena pulled out her phone. I have a friend from my hacktivist days. Owes me a favor. Can get us layout, security rotations, and access codes. Maya wanted to argue. But Lena was right. They needed human help for human security. Fine, but you stay in the van, no heroics. Can't promise that, but I'll try. Rivera Space Force Base at 2 a.m. was exactly as intimidating as expected. Chain link fences, armed guards, security cameras every 20 feet, and somewhere inside, a black site laboratory where shifters were being vivisected in the name of national security. Maya crouched beside Rylan in the darkness beyond the perimeter, Connor and 8 wolves spread out in tactical positions. Lena sat in a van half a mile away, guiding them via earpieces. Guard rotation in 30 seconds, Lena's voice crackled. East entrance will be clear for 90 seconds. That's your window. Copy that, Rylan murmured. They moved as one, silent, swift, more shadow than substance. The wolves could make themselves nearly invisible when they tried, and Maya's mark suppressed her presence entirely, a trick she'd learned through practice. Inside the facility, the clinical brightness was jarring, hallways too white, too clean, smelling of antiseptic and fear. Maya followed the mark's pull. It knew where the other marked wolves were, drawn to them like magnetic north. They found the laboratory 3 levels down. Through reinforced glass windows, Maya saw them. Wolves in medical restraints, IVs pumping them full of sedatives, machinery hooked to their bodies extracting something. Silver light, dim and struggling, being siphoned into collection vessels. Her mark exploded with protective fury. Guards, Connor warned. 4 armed soldiers rounded the corner and froze when they saw the wolves. Before anyone could shoot, Maya stepped forward and her mark blazed. Sleep. The command wasn't meant for shifters, but the mark's power had evolved. It could affect anyone now, human or wolf, if their will was weak enough. All 4 soldiers collapsed, unconscious. That's new, Rylan observed. Let's hope it keeps working. Maya placed her hand on the laboratory door's biometric lock, and the mark sang, silver light interfacing with the electronics, convincing the system she had clearance. The door opened. Inside, a scientist in a white coat looked up from his computer, eyes widening. How did you? Security should have. Shut it down, Maya said. All of it, now. I can't. This is classified. I don't care about your clearance level. Those are people you're torturing. Her mark pulsed, and the scientist stumbled back, feeling the weight of her presence. Rylan and Connor were already moving through the lab, releasing restraints, pulling IVs. The captive wolves were weak, barely conscious, but alive. We need to move fast, Connor said. Lena, what's our exit window? Static. Then Lena's voice, tight with fear. We have a problem. The whole base just went to high alert. Someone triggered silent alarm. You've got maybe 3 minutes before the building's locked down. Maya cursed. The scientist must have had a panic button. Can you get the wolves out? She asked Rylan. Not all of them. Not fast enough. His face was grim. We'd need 10 minutes minimum to evacuate everyone safely. Maya looked at the silver light collection vessels, at the machinery designed to extract the mark's power. An idea formed, terrible and desperate. Get them out. I'll buy you time. Maya, what are you? She was already moving to the central console, hands flying over controls she shouldn't understand, but somehow did. Cassandra's stolen knowledge, still useful. The extraction equipment works both ways, she said. If it can take power out, it can push power in. I'm going to overload the whole system. Create a feedback pulse that'll fry every electronic device in the building. That kind of power release could kill you, Rylan said flatly. Or it could set off every fire suppression system, trigger evacuation protocols, and give us the chaos we need to escape. Maya met his eyes. Trust me. I do, but... No buts. Get them out. That's an order, Alpha. His eyes flashed, the mate bond screaming at him to protect her, but Maya's command voice was absolute. He grabbed an unconscious wolf, threw them over his shoulder. Connor, evacuation, now. They moved. Maya was left alone with the machinery and a very bad idea. She connected herself to the extraction device, reversed the polarity, set the output to maximum, and let her mark's power flood into the system. Silver light exploded through the laboratory, cascading into electronics, overwhelming circuits, racing through the facility's entire power grid. Every light blew out, every camera died, every lock released, and every fire alarm in the building screamed to life as sprinklers activated throughout the base. Maya collapsed, the mark's drain leaving her hollow and gasping. But it had worked. Through the chaos of alarms and rushing water and panicked soldiers, Rylan appeared, scooping her into his arms. Crazy, he muttered, but his voice was filled with pride. Absolutely insane. Did everyone get out? Everyone, thanks to you. He carried her through the flooding facility, past confused soldiers, out into the night where Lena's van waited with its back doors open and 37 freed wolves crammed inside. They drove into the darkness, sirens wailing behind them, and Maya let herself fall unconscious against Rylan's chest. Safe, victorious, and ready, finally, to stop running from what her heart had known all along. Chapter 10. Maya woke in her bed at Rylan's estate, sunlight streaming through windows overlooking the Rockies. 48 hours had passed since the base raid. The freed wolves had scattered to safe houses across Colorado. The government was scrambling to cover up the electrical malfunction that had destroyed their black site. And Maya had slept through most of it, the mark's power slowly regenerating. Rylan sat in the chair beside her bed, watching her with those impossible gold eyes. "Hey," she said, voice hoarse. "Hey yourself." He moved to the bed, brushing hair from her face. "You scared me. Again." "Sorry. Seems to be my specialty. Among others." His smile was soft. "The wolves you freed are safe. Sienna's placing them with packs who'll protect them." And Lena's friend wiped the security footage. "As far as the military knows, it was equipment failure." "Good." Maya pushed herself upright. "What about future facilities? They'll rebuild." "Probably. But now we know they're out there. We'll be ready." Ryland's hand found hers. "You can't save everyone, Maya. Not alone." "I know. That's why I'm not alone anymore." Their eyes met, and the weight of 6 months of dancing around the bond pressed down. "I need to tell you something," Maya said, "and I need you to let me finish before you respond." Ryland nodded, tension visible in his shoulders. "When you marked me that first night, I hated you. I hated the bond, the loss of control, everything." Maya's fingers traced the silver lines on her arm. "I spent weeks convinced this was all supernatural compulsion, that what I felt wasn't real." "Maya, let me finish." She smiled slightly. "But somewhere between the kidnapping and the warehouse and Union Station and the military base, I realized something. The mark doesn't create feelings. It amplifies what's already there. And what's there is..." She took a breath. "I love you. Not because fate demands it. Not because we're mates. Because you're stubborn and protective, and you've never tried to control me even when the bond probably wanted you to. Because you see me as a partner, not a possession. Because I trust you with my life." Ryland's eyes blazed. "Maya, I'm not finished." Her voice strengthened. "I also need you to understand. I'm not completing the bond to make you happy. I'm doing it because I'm ready. Because I choose this. Choose you. Choose us." Silence. Then Ryland pulled her into his arms and his voice was rough with emotion. "I love you too. So much it terrifies me, and I'll spend the rest of our very long lives proving I'm worthy of the choice you're making." "Our very long lives?" "The completed mate bond grants immortality to both partners. Didn't I mention that?" His smile was wicked. "You absolutely did not." Surprise. "You're stuck with me forever." Maya laughed, free and genuine. "I can think of worse fates." She kissed him then, deep and claiming, and the mark sang. This time she didn't pull back, didn't hesitate. She let the bond complete. Silver and gold light erupted around them as the mate mark formed, interlocking crescents over both their hearts, permanent and perfect. Power flooded through Maya, not overwhelming, but balancing. Ryland's strength joining hers, creating something greater than either alone. When the light faded, they were both gasping, foreheads pressed together, hearts beating in perfect sync. "Wow," Maya breathed. "Yeah." Ryland's hand covered the mark over her heart. "How do you feel?" "Complete. Finally." She could feel him now, his emotions, his presence, his absolute devotion. "And terrified. We just made ourselves targets." "We were already targets. Now we're just targets together." He kissed her softly. "Whatever comes, restoration remnants, government agencies, ambitious alphas, we face it as mates, as equals." "As partners," Maya agreed. A knock interrupted. Lena's voice. "Are you two done with the magical bonding? Because we have company." They dressed quickly and headed downstairs to find the great room filled with wolves. Sienna, Connor, the freed test subjects, and at the center, Cade. The Iron Claw Alpha smiled, hands raised peacefully. "Relax. I'm not here to fight." "Then why are you here?" Ryland demanded, positioning himself between Cade and Maya. "Because word's spreading. About the Moonbound Heir who frees, instead of controls." who broke into a military base and saved 37 wolves. Cade's expression turned serious. The old guard still wants you dead. But there's a new movement forming. Packs who want what you're offering. Freedom with strength. Choice with power. What are you saying? Maya asked. I'm saying you've started something bigger than yourself, and it's time to make it official. Cade knelt, and every wolf in the room followed. I, Cade of Ironclaw, pledge my pack's loyalty to the Moonbound Queen, not as subjects, as allies. Maya's breath caught. I'm not a queen. You are? Sienna said gently. Maybe not the kind Cassandra wanted, but the kind we need. Someone who leads without chains, who inspires without commanding. One by one, the wolves pledged. Not submission, partnership. By the time the sun set, Maya had alliances with 12 packs spanning 3 states. Later, standing on the mountain overlook with Rylan, watching the territories spread below, Maya felt the weight of what she'd become. I just wanted a normal life, she said quietly. Normal's overrated. Rylan wrapped his arms around her from behind. Besides, you were never going to be normal. Not with that fire inside you. Smooth talker. It's one of my many talents. She leaned back against him, the mate bond humming contentment. What happens now? Now? We build something new. A network of packs choosing cooperation over competition. We find other marked wolves before the government does. We prepare for whatever threat comes next. He pressed a kiss to her shoulder, right over the original mark. And we live. Really live. Together. Maya's mark glowed soft silver in the twilight. 6 months ago, a stranger with golden eyes had appeared at her door and shattered her world. She'd hated him for it, feared him, fought the bond with everything she had. And in the end, she'd chosen him anyway. Not because of fate or magic or ancient prophecy. Because love, real love, was always a choice. And Maya Rivera had finally learned to choose for herself. Epilogue. 1 year later, the Moonbound Alliance had grown to 47 packs. Maya split her time between healing at Denver Health and mediating pack disputes. Rylan led Nightfall while supporting her growing network. Lena had quit her job to run the Alliance's Human Relations Department and still produced her podcast. The government had backed off after Maya personally visited Washington and demonstrated what the mark could do. They'd reached an uneasy truce. Leave shifters alone, or face a power that couldn't be contained. The Restoration still existed in shadows, plotting. But they were fractured, leaderless, diminishing. And on a mountain in Colorado, in a bedroom overlooking the Rockies, Maya woke to her mate's arms and the mark's warm pulse. Outside, the world was complicated and dangerous and full of threats. But here, in this moment, she was exactly where she chose to be, and that made all the difference.
And that is where we leave Maya and Rylan for tonight. If you're listening to this right now, you are part of the loyal pack who stays until the very last second. I appreciate you so much. To prove you made it to the end, drop a gold heart and a wolf emoji in the comments. Let's confuse everyone who clicked off early. Remember, I post a brand new story every single day, so hit that subscribe button, and I will see you tomorrow night under the moonlight.